If you thought the Yu Menglong case was dark, wait until you hear about this woman. She wasn't just your average celebrity. She was the key to a conspiracy that nearly brought the Chinese government to its knees. She holds the deepest secrets of China's elite, but her beauty turned out to be her ultimate curse. Legendary singer Tang Can, who vanished from the spotlight for years, was recently spotted in Beijing, filming the 9th Lunar New Year special, Tian Nan Di Bei, Da Lian Huan, on Asia TV. Once dubbed the military's femme fatale, her every move commands public attention, mostly due to rumors of her entanglements with some of the most powerful figures in Chinese politics and the military. To this day, the Chinese government has never offered an official explanation for where she's been all these years. But her sudden reappearance has reignited old scandals. Talk of her being a central figure in the coup attempt involving Zhou Yongkang and Xilai, along with her ties to influential factions in the government and military, is once again the talk of the town. Seeing someone who was once at the pinnacle of power resurface with such a modest image makes you wonder, is this part of a deal? Or perhaps a secret trade-off between political factions? Hi Tracers, Sean here, and welcome back. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on the glitz and glamour of the Chinese entertainment industry, which, as it turns out, is often just a mask for a corrupt and deadly political machine. We're not just talking about fame here, we're talking about how bodies and voices are used as currency at the highest tables of power. This is the story of the rise, the fall, and the return of the goddess, who carries the deadly secrets of generals. Buckle up, because you never know how deep this hole goes. Tang Can was born in Lichuan County, Hubei Province. Several media reports mention that she comes from a rural family background. Interestingly, her great-grandfather was reportedly Russian, meaning she carries a foreign bloodline through her father's side. If you do the math, this means Tang Can is 1/8 Russian. When Tang Can was a teenager, her mother enrolled her in a preschool teaching college, hoping she would become a kindergarten teacher and lead a stable, quiet life. But with her stunning looks and crystal clear voice, she felt that world wasn't for her. She chose the stage instead. She eventually made her way into the Wuhan Conservatory of Music for formal vocal training. In 1996, Tang Can was recruited by the renowned Oriental Song and Dance Troupe as a solo singer. It was from this very moment that her career began to skyrocket, pulling her deep into the inner circles of the regime's arts and culture system. However, since she didn't come from a family of high-ranking officials or tycoons, there was no shortcut to the top. To climb the ladder of power, she reportedly didn't hesitate to use her beauty and her body as leverage. Word is, Tang Chan's promotion was heavily tied to the backing of Li Dongsheng. In 1998, thanks to arrangements made by Li Dongsheng, who was the vice director of CCTV at the time, Tang Chan managed to perform on the prestigious Chunwan stage, the Lunar New Year Gala. From then on, her career went into overdrive. A year later, her name exploded after she performed a patriotic anthem titled "Blessing the Motherland." This success solidified her position as the face of a new generation for state-sponsored patriotic songs. Once she hit the big time, Tang Chan was truly untouchable. Her business ventures and popularity soared, reaching a golden era that seemed unstoppable. In 2008, Tang Chan further cemented her status in the music world by becoming a protege of Jin Tilin, one of the most influential figures in the music industry. Through Jin Tilin, she began building a network with the maestro's other former students, including figures like Song Zuying. Until, on the 13th of September, 2010, at the age of 35, she was specially recruited by Xu Kaiho to join the Beijing Military Region's Comrade in Arms art troupe. After officially entering the military, Tang Chan was immediately granted a Level 3 civilian rank with Level 5 professional technical qualifications. This position was equivalent to the rank of senior colonel, complete with all the perks and benefits of a deputy division commander. In the world of high-ranking Chinese officials, there seems to be this unwritten rule. If an official doesn't have more mistresses than they have gray hairs, they aren't worthy of the title. In this twisted game of sex for power, if a woman hasn't been dated by what feels like an entire division of officials, she wouldn't dare claim the title of a public concubine. During his tenure as a top executive at CCTV, Li Dongsheng pulled every string imaginable to make Tang Chan a star. But everything came with a price. He treated Tang Chan like a piece of tribute, a gift offered up to please the king of 100 concubines, Zhou Yongkang. This strategy worked perfectly, earning Li the absolute trust of Zhou. Ironically, while Li Dongsheng always maintained a public image of a clean and honest official, foreign media dubbed him Zhongnanhai's biggest pimp. Tang Chan wasn't his only offering. He reportedly served up a whole lineup of beautiful CCTV presenters as sacrifices to the altar of power. Because of this blind loyalty, Zhou Yongkang made him a trusted henchman, eventually pulling him in to serve as Vice Minister of Public Security. If CCTV is the lie factory, then the Ministry of Public Security is the iron fist of the regime. Li Dongsheng's move from the institution of lies to the institution of violence fits the regime's logic of maintaining stability perfectly, through manipulation and intimidation. So, it's no surprise that Li Dongsheng could transition so smoothly from a professional deceiver to a henchman executioner. While serving as Vice Minister of Public Security, he was also appointed as the head of the 610 Office, an extra-legal security unit of the regime. As the embodiment of both lies and violence, Li Dongsheng couldn't escape the web of corruption and moral scandals. His career skyrocketed because of his efforts to smear Falun Gong to win the favor of Jiang Zemin and Zhou Yongkang. On the flip side, Zhou Yongkang himself used the suppression of Falun Gong as his ticket to suck up to Jiang Zemin. In the end, both men had to face a bitter reality. They were trapped in a hole they dug themselves. As the saying goes, you reap what you sow. We got a bit sidetracked there, so let's get back to Tang Can. Word is, once she put on that military uniform, it didn't take long for her to start dominating and building a massive network among the military elite. Her scandal blew up when reports surfaced of her secret affairs with Gu Junshan, the deputy head of the General Logistics Department, and several other high-ranking officials. In 2012, the book New Public Mistress, Tang Can by Jiang Shui exposed how she leveraged these illicit relationships with a long list of top brass and celebrities. She wasn't just a passive victim of the behind-the-scenes rules. She actively marketed herself as a public mistress. Just how jaw-dropping was Tang Chan's betting list? At the top of the list was Xilai, and the highest-ranking official of them all was Zhou Yongkang. But the list doesn't stop there. It includes Xu Zaiho, the former head of the 610 Office and Vice Minister of Public Security, Li Dongsheng, former CCTV Director, Zhao Li, former mayor of Shenzhen Su Zongheng, and even the mayor of Kaifeng, Zhou Yizong, who ended up taking his own life. Among those names, many were top figures from the Blood Debt faction men whose hands were stained with the blood of persecuted Falun Gong practitioners. The men who managed to roll around in her sheets weren't just anybody. They were incredibly powerful central officials and big-shot military leaders. Former senior mainland Chinese journalist Zhao Lanjian told Sound of Hope, "My old office was right across from the PLA Academy of Arts. I've been in and out of there many times for interviews and filming. They have what's called the little soldiers, dancers or singers who are still very young and usually come from families with strong connections. These young people all hold official military status, and as soon as they graduate, they go straight into the military art troupe. However, some of them are intentionally groomed and prepared to be pets or private mistresses for the top brass. And honestly, this phenomenon has become completely commonplace in China. Back when I was doing interviews, I could see the writing on the wall for these groups just by looking at them through my camera lens. In China, the majority of famous artists, just like the presenters at CCTV, have at least one, if not several, power players backing them. In fact, Many of them have cross-platform connections that span across various circles of power. Word is, Tang Can used her sexual allure to harvest first-hand intelligence from the very centers of power, specifically tracking the latest movements of military high command, based on leaked information circulating behind the scenes. Tang Chan is cited as a key figure in the coup plot orchestrated by Jiang Zemin, Zheng Qinghong, Zhou Yongkang, and Bo Xilai in their bid to seize power from Xi Jinping. At the same time, she reportedly functioned as a shared mistress between Bo Xilai and Zhou Yongkang. Tang Chan allegedly sold herself to spy on party elites, gathering high-level intelligence for the Bo and Zhou faction while acting as a liaison at crucial political junctions. You could say she was a political broker, smoothing the path for the coup. That's why many sources claim that after she was detained, the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, CCDI, grilled her on two main points. First, the true extent of her intimate involvement with the Bo-Zhou duo, and second, just how deep the rot of corruption went within the military elite. Precisely because Tang Can was entangled in so many scandals with military brass and central officials, she ended up sitting on a mountain of filth regarding the regime's elite. She knew too many kitchen secrets. In fact, she held the dead man's switch that could determine the fate of many. Tang Can alone was enough to send shockwaves through the party, the government, and the military, potentially tearing their stability to shreds. This is exactly why so many high-ranking party officials and senior generals fought tooth and nail to prevent Tang Can from ever being dragged into an open courtroom. If Zhao Hongxia's actions alone could bring half of Chongqing's officials to their knees and trigger a massive political earthquake in 2013, then Tang Chan's maneuvers were on a whole different level. She managed to ride the entire power structure of the Chinese party government and military. In comparison, Zhao Hongxia was just a commoner, a small pawn who was simply looking for pocket change by selling herself. Meanwhile, Tang Can was already enjoying the luxuries of a high-ranking officer with the rank of senior colonel, yet she willingly degraded herself into a sacrificial lamb in a transaction of lust, money, and power. She even actively marketed herself as a broker to become a public mistress for the ruling elite. She was even deeply involved in the coup conspiracy orchestrated by Zhou Yongkang and Bo Xilai. Then, in 2011, Tang Can began testing the waters to expand her reach by diving into the film industry. In a spy drama titled Iron-Blooded Warriors, she was cast as the lead actress. However, just as the series was about to air around December of that same year, Tang Can suddenly vanished from the public eye without any warning. The rumor mill immediately went into overdrive. She had been forcibly taken and hauled away. The production house panicked. They scrubbed every single scene featuring her and scrambled to find a replacement to reshoot the entire series. From that moment on, Tang Can's name abruptly disappeared from state media and national artist lists. Her whereabouts became a massive mystery, and even wild rumors about her death began to circulate. Finally, on the 5th of December 2014, a shocking post surfaced in mainland China's Sohu community discussing her fate. The article claimed to have secured one insider information from within the central police and legal systems. The news that Tang Can had been sentenced to prison wasn't just a tall tale. What was shocking, however, was that the charges weren't about her sexual scandals with high-ranking officials, but rather a series of espionage cases deemed a threat to national security. Beyond using her proximity to top officials while entering Zhongnanhai to constantly steal and sell military and economic secrets, she also secretly mapped out the topography of the residences and offices of central leaders within the complex. These maps were allegedly intended for hostile Western powers. The article mentioned that Tang Can had been officially investigated by the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, CCDI. Because the case involved high-level CCP political, economic, and military secrets, her trial could not be opened to the public. There were even rumors that her crimes amounted to high treason, and word spread that she had been secretly executed. According to a book published overseas titled Tang Can, Detonating the Big Tigers, it was revealed that in her youth, when Tang Can went to South Korea for plastic surgery, she was targeted by Korean intelligence and fell into a honey trap. The opposition reportedly gave her a diamond necklace that was actually planted with a secret listening device. Through that necklace, they managed to obtain numerous high-value secrets from the heart of China's ruling elite. After Tang Chan vanished from the face of the earth in December 2011, she never appeared in public again. Despite her disappearance, bombshells about her life continued to leak, from her extravagant lifestyle filled with luxury estates and priceless jewelry to her moral scandals and illicit affairs with numerous high-ranking CCP officials. Prominent lyricist Zhang Ming revealed through his verified Weibo account that Tang Can had been under investigation by the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, CCDI, for her involvement in several ongoing corruption cases. Luo Changping, the former deputy editor-in-chief of Beijing magazine, also posted on Weibo stating that Tang Can had stood trial in Hubei and was currently serving time in a women's prison in the area. On the third day of the 2013 Lunar New Year, two sources, writer Sun Yaoyang, who claimed to be a close friend of Tang Can, and the deputy director of the Jincheng Foreign Affairs Office, simultaneously confirmed via Weibo that Tang Can had been officially detained before the new year and sentenced to 7 years in prison. Later, on the 9th of May 2018, a Chinese WeChat public account called Da Kangkao published an article under the pseudonym Dang Shu, revealing even more details behind the Tang Can rumors. The article stated that in 2013, Tang Can was sentenced to 7 years and served her time at the Jianing Women's Prison in Hubei. She reportedly used the alias Zhu Yan, and the official charges against her were listed as economic crimes. Tang Chan's identity was kept strictly under wraps. She rarely showed her face, and very few people were allowed to interact with her. While behind bars, she performed odd jobs and occasionally provided guidance to the prison's performing arts troupe. Way back in 2015, word started spreading that, during a routine health check at the Wuhan Women's Prison in Hubei, after Tang Chan's blood test came back positive for HIV antibodies, a second sample was taken to confirm the results. Given the extreme complexity of her case and her ties to numerous central figures, the Hubei authorities immediately alerted the Ministry of Justice. The ministry then coordinated with the military to grant her medical parole, and she was eventually transferred to the Wuhan Military Command General Hospital for treatment. Given Tang Chan's status as a shared mistress among the ruling elite, ranging from Zhou Yongkang, Xu Kaiho, and Gu Junshan, to a long list of then-sitting high-ranking officials, the central authorities issued a special directive. They ordered every general and top official who had been intimately involved with her to undergo immediate HIV antibody testing. Naturally, this triggered a massive wave of panic within the inner circles of power. Despite this, the string of explosive rumors surrounding Tang Can was never officially confirmed by the Chinese government. However, one detail stands out. Exactly 1 month before this scandal leaked, on the 15th of March 2015, Xu Kaiho, the former vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, who was also implicated in a scandal with Tang Can, was pronounced dead. Officially, the Chinese government announced that Xu died of bladder cancer. However, in 2016, Hong Kong media leaked internal documents revealing a shocking twist. The actual cause of Xu Kaiho's death was complications from HIV/AIDS. After years of seemingly being swallowed by the earth, Tang Chan's reappearance instantly shattered the wilder speculations. Several media outlets reported that during her detention, she was brought back to Beijing to serve as a key witness in the Big Tiger military corruption investigations. Many suspect that thanks to her service in helping take down these heavyweights, she was granted clemency and released just before the 2016 Lunar New Year. In China, the law is often just a veil to cover up shame. Was Tang Can truly imprisoned for a crime, or simply because she crossed the wrong person? This is the dark side of their legal system, where trials, verdicts, and releases all happen silently behind closed doors. The scandal dragging Tang Can down is just the tip of the iceberg of the rotten reality of power in China. Now, photos of her post-release have begun to leak and circulate widely on social media. In the photos, she's seen wearing a red dress, but the lines of exhaustion and pain are etched clearly on her face. Her image now stands in stark contrast to her old persona. It's as if she's a completely different person compared to the seductive military siren who was once so breathtaking and powerful. After serving her time and being released, Tang Can could only surface through live streams or small-scale community events like local cultural festivals. There was almost no major movement from her until recently, when news of her latest activities broke. In February 2026, Tang Chan appeared in Beijing to film the Asian TV 9th North and South Dalian Huan Lunar New Year special. Although she went through 4 costume changes and performed 3 songs in a row to try and recapture her former glory, the scene at the studio told a very different story. The woman who once enjoyed the perks of a senior colonel and was always chauffeured in luxury cars arrived at the set in a simple rideshare taxi. Even more ironic was that she didn't have a single assistant by her side. To top it off, this Lunar New Year show wasn't even on a grand stage like CCTV. It was just a low-budget production aired on marginal channels like the Central New Film Student Channel and Asia TV. Her seemingly impoverished comeback raises serious questions about the political logic behind it. Under the strict rules of China's censorship body, the NRTA, artists blacklisted for moral scandals or heavy political issues are almost never allowed back on air. However, the fact that Tang Can can officially appear on satellite TV and digital channels no matter how small the platform sends a strong signal. This could very well be a political desensitization experiment that has been greenlit from the very top. Seeing her have to order a rideshare just to get to a shoot, some observers believe it doesn't mean she's lost her powerful backing. On the contrary, this almost pitifully humble act could be a calculated strategy for a slow return to the public stage. In the unique political ecosystem of China, someone as sensitive as Tang Can, who once held a mountain of high-level military and political secrets, being allowed to resurface at all is a massive privilege in itself. For now, the Chinese government remains silent about the years she went missing, and Tang Chan's own silence seems to serve as both a justification and an answer to all the rumors of the past. Tracers, what do you think about this case? Tang Chan's story is like a real-life political thriller that's as chilling as it gets. Is she just a victim of the system, or a player whose gamble simply failed? Do you think her showing up in a rideshare is a signal that her old faction is completely wiped out, or is she intentionally hiding in plain sight? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're still watching this, maybe you're looking for the same thing I am.